I'm Chris. This is Empty Space Radio, and I should have listened to that music before because I felt a little low energy, but then just that 20 seconds gave me a little bit of perk, but I'm going to remind, that's just a little side note for me here. So anyways, I got my friend Shira here, sorry, coming from California. How you doing?
Hi. Nice to see you. Let's create the energy here because you're feeling low energy.
I was, but I'm back up now. So I want to thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Super grateful for your invites.
Super grateful for you accepting the invite, and also for rescheduling with me after I dropped the ball, I guess 2 or 3 weeks ago. So thank you for being flexible.
Oh yeah, totally. Thank you. Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I was here and I realized that I didn't send the right email. So I definitely did show up for basically what happened was I showed up for the dinner but forgot to send you the restaurant address.
I actually got on. It was a bit late, but then so all I was seeing was you. I don't know. I didn't tell you this. I was seeing you on your computer, but like you couldn't see me or hear me. And then I was confused. And then I just was like, okay, I guess. And I was late though. So it was a mixture between I didn't get the link to the right email and then I was late. So I feel like, you know.
Oh no, it's all good. Here we are now, and I got to read basically because I was already here. I was like, well, I'll just read an essay from my book. So you know.
Oh, cool! That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, a friend of mine that wanted to be anonymous in the book wrote a beautiful essay about basically all the wonderful things that have come out of his life have come out of really bad things, like not things you would consider like something you would consider to be grateful for. For example, his dad met his mom. His mom was a student at the time and like had an affair with her and ended up, and they ended up being together. And then he, this whole, like his mom got sick and she wanted to go to the hospital. Like he was just pointing out these like things that obviously aren't things people go, oh, well, good. But if not, like he wouldn't exist, like it was really a really powerful essay. So I was happy to read it.
Yeah, we're all just a bunch of our actions, whether those feel quote unquote good or bad. Where we're at is because of what happened, and so that's why I hate the word regret or even the word that was a failure, because there's always like a goodness from something that we deem as wrong that happens. That said, I think I look at things ethically or morally. I definitely think if things are done that aren't ethical, it's worthwhile looking back at those things or not in integrity and understanding why you did that and what you can learn from it. And, really reflecting on if you want to be that type of person. But totally, I mean, I think that like I missed a flight on last week and I was really pissed off. And definitely like that anger and frustration came in and I had to just reflect of like, okay, I'm here. What's the gift? What's the lesson? And then of course, what makes me feel sometimes better about it, and this could be just my way of coping, is I say to myself, like, well, you just never know what could have happened. Like, you never know if you landing then you could have gotten in a car accident or like, or your boyfriend on your way to pick you up could have gotten into one. Like you were not meant to, that scenario was not meant to happen. And so can you just surrender and embrace this scenario and enjoy it for what it is? Right.
Right. Well, it's almost like you're on your way somewhere in your car, you run out of gas. It's like, here we are, right? Like either we can be upset by it and sit in the car, right? Or we can go get some, get out, go get some gas, right? Like make the most of it. It's a situation, especially when it's out of your control. But I like your idea of the forward motion of this is where I am. It's okay. Anything else could have happened, but I'm content being with this is good.
Well, it is because it's what's being served to you. So if you're not going to enjoy it, and if one moment begets the next moment, if this moment of presence and gratitude creates the next moment of presence and gratitude, then that's what I get to choose now, not choose in the next moment when it's convenient.
Right. Right. Because if you wait, then it'll never feel convenient. Right. It becomes convenient because we do it all the time. That's the only time it actually really feels more you flex the muscle.
When everything feels like, oh, it's aligned. Like, oh, I'm in the best situation now. So now I feel present and grateful. But like, I think that each moment creates energy for the next moment, which is why you get to be what you want to be now, right? The feelings, maybe the things outside of you that you can't control, that you envision, whether it be, external stuff. Sometimes people want, well, I'll feel this way if I get that job or that dream house, or, all that stuff. But you have to feel what you would feel in that now, because, you could say, like, why would you deserve gifts in the future if you can't even enjoy your gifts now? There is a bit of that. The universe gives you, and you give yourself what you give yourself in this moment.
Right. That's so true. I do love that. It's like, if you don't appreciate what you have now, what makes you think you're going to appreciate what you have later? This whole idea of, and then we also know the psychology. It's like you get a new car, within 2 or 3 weeks, it all becomes the neutral. Like,
sorry, oh my God, whew, I have like allergies. Sorry.
It's okay.
All right, this is the thing, and you say I'm like a pro. Oh my God, I'm like major allergies. I rarely sneeze when I'm on camera or on air. This is like the first, like, I'm live on air. Oh my God. I think I'm having a sneeze attack. Oh, it's like something hit my nose. Anyway, but I'm live on the air 3 hours, or now 4 hours a day, and I rarely sneeze, like I cough even. And that was an anomaly. Anyway.
I'm glad I got to be the one for it. So it's great.
Wow. I was like, what is going on? Anyway.
But I was just saying, that whole idea of, we get something new and we only appreciate, even when we get it, we appreciate it normally. Like if you get a new car, it's like within a couple of weeks, it becomes like your normal. So even that, well, I mean, that's what I've been working on a lot this year actually, is like, how do you appreciate the everyday? Like, what do you have to do to, like, for example, just continue to appreciate your home? Because the problem with something you get every day is you will take it for granted. Like, that's just the nature, unless you intentionally put the work in. Like, it takes, not a lot of work, but it takes intentional work, to appreciate what you have. Like, just like talking about the solid, like the four walls, like the car that runs, or your job, right? These are all important things. Are your, the person you're in a relationship with. Like, on my end, I got married in November, and my fiance and I were together. Thank you. Yeah, very new. Well, we've been together for over 4 years, and she's from Bogota, Colombia, and we were doing long distance for 4 years. And we had to go through the K-1 visa process and all these things. And then
were you on 90 Day Fiance?
I wasn't. Somebody did tell me about that later, but no,
I was like, oh my God, you would have been great on it. Although you would have been the most, no offense, like normal, probably, like hopefully healthy relationship, because there's not a lot of healthy relationships on that show.
Oh, I know. We actually watched one of them, and I was just like, this is so sad. It was like the guy I think he was flying to Mexico to meet her. Like, it was just so sad. And he'd already given her something like, $40,000 over the last 4 years. I was just like, or whatever it was. I was just like, I can't watch that stuff. I get too invested. Like, I get really sad for the people. I'd rather it's like a downer. But no, what I was saying is, like, we went through the K-1 visa process during COVID, and getting getting the appointment, then the appointment going away because all the embassies stopped, like, taking appointments and all this, and then she finally got the appointment, and it was like, okay, patience. And we're like, okay, she's got approval. Now Colombia, the country, has to open up in-country flights. Okay, that's the next step. Finally, they open in-country flights, right? Now we're like, okay, now they got to open up international flights. Yay, they open up international flights October 1st, and she's here mid-October. But what I'm trying to, like, what I don't want to forget is, like, I don't want to forget all those nights like that I had to go to sleep, like, looking at her on the phone, right? I don't want to forget, like, the goodbyes at the airport, right? I don't want to forget, like, we're only seeing each other for 6 weeks now. We're not going to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to forget that because she's here now, right? I don't want to forget that. I don't want to take it for granted. That's what it comes down to. It's like, I really don't want to take that for granted because she's here. And that's just nature, It's like, we have to, like, so I have, like, my thing in the morning is I write down RR, which is like, remember Roseville. Like, so I go through, like, a mental, that's part of my morning. I go through a mental, what I just told you, those little things, just so I can remind myself that, I mean, I'm sitting with so many gifts, you know what I mean? Like, I've got so much good stuff, like, gifts that are around me. And I just don't want to, obviously you can't appreciate them all at once, but I don't want to take them for granted.
Yeah. I think that, that awareness is really key. It starts with that. right? You can't be perfect all the time. And I hate even the word perfect. Perfection isn't even something that is like worthwhile talking about. It's like, whatever is, right? There's beauty in the imperfections of life. That's where life happens. But I love that practice and that awareness. And what I do with my partner, and this is the first time I've done this in a relationship, is we try to, as much as possible when we're together, or, we don't live together yet. We try to, before we go to bed, always share our gratitude from that day. Like, what are we grateful for from today? And of course, we always include each other, but it's more also just, it's everything that comes up. But definitely, I feel like as it relates to a relationship, when you're doing it together, you always kind of come back to being grateful for each other, because it's just such a special thing to do every night. And then we set our intentions in the morning, for the next day. And then in the morning, we say when we wake up, we say, I choose you. We decide, we actually share that as a proclamation of that day, I choose you. And so that's also a reminder of the importance of choosing each other every single day. And that's something I've never done before in a relationship. And it's just so nice and juicy, and it feels really great.
I love that. So let's go a little farther into that, because I mentioned you showed me the heart behind you, and I would love for you to share the story of the heart that's over your left-hand shoulder there.
Yeah, well, he made that with his hands. No, he took the raw wood for the holidays. He made that for me. He's a fabricator. So he has a shop and he builds things, and which is like amazing for him, because he always can make his own gifts. Whereas I am like buying him a Roku and like socks, very sentimental. Yeah. So he even the red inside is its own block of wood. Mm-hmm. They were both square pieces, and he actually designed it and carved it himself, which I just love, that the idea of that process of like, you're giving it to someone you love, and you're like putting in your energy and your heart into it, and thinking about, I'm assuming, even though I do know him, so I think he did this, thinking about the person, and it's like all encompassed in this thing. And then the actual redwood isn't just like over it, as like it's actually goes through it. So it's like he described it as, the red one is my heart, and he's like the heart around my heart.
It's beautiful.
So like, sweet.
Yeah.
I mean,
what's his name?
Chris.
He's a Chris too. There you go. That's awesome. Yeah. So I'm always curious. I'm always curious how people meet, and like what elements have to come into that, like what people were involved. Like I recently, like for example, with us, I like to share how we met. My friend Rick Shermer, one of my oldest friends. I mean, you're talking 20 something years. I knew him. What?
I forgot who introduced us.
Oh yeah, so it was Rick and Rachel McCord is his wife, and so he. I haven't talked to him in a while. I knew him before he moved out to LA, and he just randomly sent me on Instagram. He's like, he just sent me your post about your about reading your journal, like your video post. He just sent it. I don't even know if he just said you should check this out. He just forwarded it to me, and I was like, oh well, there's Rick sharing something. Obviously, I'm going to look at it, and I see you there, and I'm like, oh wow, this is awesome. I was appreciating how you were getting, just the emotionality of gratitude and sitting down with the journal. And then, I reached out to, you never know on Instagram when you reach out to somebody, if they're ever going to reach back, and I think I commented, and we friended up, and we got a conversation going, and here we are. But so just that example is, I love thinking there's like, I appreciate this moment with you. And I always like to think, in the elements of how the moment occurred, because it makes life feel magical, and it allows me to appreciate those little things, and those little actions. So speaking of that, I'm curious, what were some of the elements and people that came into play for you to meet Chris?
Oh, my friend Olga. Well, no, there actually was a bunch of things that happened that led to this. Now in hindsight, when I look back, which is why you have to trust that things happen for a reason in a way. And that every moment is meant to be there. Everything that happens leads you to something, right? And so actually for my birthday, last May, I was heading to Joshua Tree, but the car, I was supposed to rent a car because the car I had at the time, it was electric and it couldn't really drive there. And so I rented a car, but then when I went, my license was expired. And so, because it expired on my birthday.
Right.
So, and I was like, what the hell? So it's like 5 p.m. I told this guy who it's this Airbnb that I'd be there by like 8 p.m. or so. And I'm like, at this point, my whole thing, I'm packed. Like my whole plan is messed up. And so I had my friend Olga had said, can I come with you on this trip? But originally I was like, no, because this is my trip. It was my own. I wanted my solo birthday experience. So I messaged her. I go, guess what? I can't drive there. Like I have my car, but it's not going to get there. My license is expired. This is just a bad idea. And so I said, do you want to go this weekend or next weekend? She goes, let's just go. So I pick her up. We go. Chris had met her a year earlier and saw that we were at this really beautiful place in Joshua Tree on Instagram story and asked her, where was this place? Oh my God, what are you doing there? And she goes, well, I'm with my friend Shira. And we've decided we want to travel on the weekends to different places that are safe, like away from the city. So if you have a cool spot that we can check out or stay at, let us know. And he happened to have a friend that lives in Santa Cruz. So he invited us to Santa Cruz one weekend. And so one weekend in July, we went to Santa Cruz and then we met. And I actually was trying to hook up them.
Oh, okay. You were the third party at the time.
I was like, yeah, but like we were all friends and we just had a really nice weekend. And then at a certain point in me continuing to try to connect her to him, she was just said she wasn't interested, but she said, you seem to be really excited about this person. So why don't you date him? And so I said, I would date him. If he asked me out, I would date him or go on a date. And so we ended up just starting to hang out and talk. And then in August, we started dating.
Wow. I love that.
Like if she hadn't come there and he had not seen that Instagram story, or like we wouldn't have decided we wanted to take those trips. Like, you know what I mean? It's a domino effect, but yet I was so pissed off when I couldn't rent the car and the plan wasn't going as I planned. And so, but it led us, there.
I love that. I love that. I love that so much. Yeah. Those little, I mean, they're so like, they're just little, yeah. Like, I mean, when you think about, I mean, that's what, I love social media because those, I mean, for example, you take away Instagram, right? That moment doesn't happen either, right? Like these big things, like for instance, I do a gratitude and sobriety podcast with my friend Curtis. And the only reason I met Curtis is because I follow gratitude on Instagram and I happened to scroll at the time that hashtag from him, because I didn't know him, popped up in front of me, right? He said, I'm so grateful I'm 5.5 years sober. And I looked at it and I was like, whoa, I like this guy. This guy's nice. I was like, I really was digging with, and I just wrote him and we connected. But it was specifically because he shared he was grateful he was sober. And I happened to follow hashtag gratitude. And I happened to be scrolling at that one moment, right? Like it's just the cosmic wheel was just spinning, right?
Yeah, and that's why also like it's easy to hate on social media.
Of course.
Definitely. But then I look at so many moments that have created so many great things. So I think that you get to choose what experience you want out of that thing. And totally. I would say I wouldn't have met Chris if it wasn't for social media. And then, so it's all connected. So that's the story of how we met.
That's beautiful. I love that. I had, I remember I was doing a gratitude and sobriety episode, and the gentleman who's a really talented musician and guitar player, he said, he talked about how he met his wife, and he said that his friend had picked him up from rehab to take him on this nice mini vacation or something to go in the mountains or something. And he was talking about, them getting to this airport and waiting for getting in the car and driving. And they stopped at this, like when they got into, I think it was Big Bear. I don't know, something, they stopped at this grocery store. And because of his friend's like a player, like he was chatting up one of the girls that was in the supermarket,
Yeah.
And then because he'd somehow, at that later on in that weekend, like she had come and met them with maybe another friend. And then long story short, this is who he's married to now, you know, who he's with. Like these little,
Wow.
again, like just, he left at that point. Like I just love that so much. And like, you know, I think about, like, I call it gratitude cubed, where it's like, if you're sitting in a place of gratitude, you can look back and see all the angles and go, even the good and the bad, you can go, it's all okay because I'm right here now. And I love me here. I'm grateful to be here. Right. Because I am who I am because of all those twists and turns, right? Like, for example, I think like gratitude stacks all the time, right? So in my, you know, I wrote a letter to my mom, you know, on my birthday, which was 4 months before she passed away from cancer. And that letter has been stacking all the way to this exact moment. It's still stacking right now. You know what I mean? Like, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here having this conversation with you.
Yeah, no, totally. It's very powerful. You know, even the moment that led to me going to Joshua Tree, like I'd been dating someone and we happened to end things. I mean, it wasn't really moving towards a relationship. It was just like a quarantine hookup. But he, you know, we ended things right before my birthday, or else he would have joined me on that trip. Right. So like, you even think about that. And that's why, like they say, you know, be intentional. I mean, one, trust that you're where you need to be. And then when you're intentional, you know, it's always in hindsight. So that's why don't wait to experience it in hindsight. Just trust now.
Right.
And I think the more you would just experience things that have that serendipity, and the more you can like actually acknowledge it, the more you can let go a bit and just trust that it's all going to be okay and it's all happening. And I think though you can't take out the intention from it. Right. So still be intentional, still be present and be what you want to be, but also just because you're not getting quote unquote what you want now doesn't mean it's not leading you there. But like, you also have to just enjoy it.
Right. Because if you're so focused on the outcome, for example, you're not actually being present. It's like we keep looking.
The outcome won't happen because you haven't been present throughout this whole thing. So you're not even going to see the thing you want when it's there. So it's all connected. Like the person you want to be it now. Claim it now. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You have that's the impermanence of life. You know, it's like, we're not promised tomorrow. So we have today. We only have today to live. Tomorrow's the future. It's not here yet. You know, the past is the past. It's not, you know, those are memories. We get even in that, we get a choice to decide what we want to focus on in the past. So it's, you know, that's what's so great about gratitude. You know, it's like I feel like gratitude is, you know, obviously somebody can't walk around and think about what they're grateful for 24 hours, 7 days a week, because we wouldn't get work done. Because, you know, but you have a choice. If you're, depending on any time you want to, you have a choice to decide if you're in a bad state that you can think of things you're grateful for as an option to the platter of ideas that can float around in our heads. You know, I think, like I said, I think it's like a lighthouse. Like if you just know it's there, it's an option. It can allow you to step away for a moment, which sometimes it's just a moment, a step away from something bad will allow you, you know, to move on.
It's just about being mindful. Like, you know, some of the most known teachers or gurus, you know, they always talk about the integration of their mindfulness meditation into everyday life. And I forget who said this, but, you know, this person was talking to her guru, and she was like, what do I get to learn? And so the next day he goes, well, tell me how that coffee tasted that you had yesterday. And she goes, oh, like really share it with me. And she just was like, oh, okay. Tomorrow I'll remember to do that. So she does the next day, and the next day she comes to him. Okay, so let's talk about the coffee. He goes, no, I want to know what that walk was like that you went on. And then she's like, oh, okay, I'll remember to do that next time. And then he comes back and goes, no, I don't want to know about now that she did that. No, right. I want to know about what it was like to look at the sky yesterday. And then she realized, just like, part of the mindfulness meditation is actually integrating it into your life and being mindful. And that's where the gratitude is too, is just being able to, even while you're doing your work and setting goals, being aware at every moment of the beauty of what you're doing and the magic of what you're doing. Yeah,
I agree. It's it's such a, I mean, you can't appreciate what's going, if you're not present, you really can't appreciate what's in front of you. So that's the whole, you know, again, that's just so great about mindfulness.
No, that we want to beat a dead horse now. We've been saying it. But yeah, and by the way, I say it, and it's not like every moment I'm practicing it. It's all about awareness though, once again, which I like. A lot of people won't start something or won't do it because they're saying like, well, I feel like I'm going to mess up, right? Or I just don't know how to do it. Or I can't figure it out. And it's just about the awareness and trying. And then it's a muscle, it's a tool. So whenever you fall back into non-awareness, you find awareness. It's the same thing as the act of meditation. And so that's why I just always say, just start being aware. And then that is it. You're doing it.
Right. Well, how did you come, how long have you been meditating, or when did you initially get introduced to that idea?
Vedic. I do like, it's like transcendental. I think a few years ago, like 4 years ago or so, 5 maybe. And it was something that I was navigating because I'm known to be a very hyper like I've never been diagnosed with ADD, but definitely some people think I have ADD. And I felt this need to feel more grounded and more focused and more calm. And a lot of people were always just telling me it would really help me with my energy, my raw energy. And so I, in a moment of like great serendipity, I was in New York having lunch with a friend, and he was telling me about the person he learned meditation from. And I had actually been interested in transcendental, and I had other friends who were involved with it. And then it just never happened, right? I just never got to doing it. But I was finally in that time where after doing this personal growth workshop, I really put down the things that I'd wanted to do and like questioned why I wasn't doing those things, and always putting them by the wayside, right? Which a lot of us do. We say, okay, next year, it's like, or that goal for the year, but like, what are you actually doing are you making it happen? Are you saying this month, tomorrow, I'm going to find the class.
Right.
Week, I'm going to book it. It's like those little steps to actually make it happen, which I kind of had not been following that part of the process. It was kind of like, well, this is going to happen, you know? So it's finally going out of my way to figure this out. And I brought it up to my friend I was having lunch with, and he goes, oh, well, you should get in touch with my meditation teacher. He does these classes in LA, blah, blah, blah. Great. Make an intro after this lunch. Well, we're walking out of the restaurant, and his meditation teacher is sitting having lunch at the doorway, like right at the entrance, or not in the doorway, but like right next to it. So like, and if he had been sitting anywhere else, we wouldn't have seen him. He was right at the exit, which is so random. And so I go, whoa, like we're both like, oh, we were just talking about you. You know, I was gonna make an intro, but you're here. And he goes, oh, funny enough, I'm in New York now, but I'm heading to LA, and I have a class that I'm doing next week or something.
Oh, wow.
You should email. So then he gives me his email, and then I find out I've been following his newsletter for like a year. So there's like all these connections, and I love that. I was like, what the hell? So I ended up doing it. And that's when it started.
That's awesome. I love that. That's a great story. That's amazing.
I think that's really fun.
Man. So, you know, getting back to, I mean, obviously I follow you on Instagram, and you got a ton of energy. It's what made me think you were saying earlier about how much energy you have. So I definitely, like, I wanted to say, I think I saw you, what did I see? You stopped during your jog to do like a breakdance session. I thought that was, just to let you know, that gave me a massive, big smiles. I think was that your boyfriend that did the relationship yoga stretching? Okay. So that was Chris. So that was awesome.
Poor guy. Yeah. And then I did an Instagram showing our relationship on Valentine's Day, a video. That was like my first time. Those are my first videos where people were like, oh, you're in a relationship. Okay.
What was I haven't seen that one. Tell me about the Valentine's Day one.
Oh my God. I wish we could play it. Could we play it through StreamYard? No, that'd be fun. It's just a reels, and I just put it to a song, and it's like all these clips and.
I could.
Chris is dying. I'm here, Chris. I'm on it.
Do you want me to see if I can pull it up real quick? I think I could do that. We're having fun here, and this is so relaxed. Let me give me 1 second here, just to. Because I can share my screen, so as long as I can bring up the clip you're talking about, this should not be a problem. We'll watch Shira's Valentine's Day. Let's see here. You're right there. Let's see here, Shira. Okay. So did you post it right on the video, and it should be on the 14th? What's the image I'm looking for? Is it the two of you met during the pandemic?
Yeah.
No, which? Okay.
That is it. The two of us met during the pandemic.
Okay. If I click, okay, it's right there. I got the audio. Let me share my screen now. Hold on. Whoa. Okay. Oh, that's a lot. Okay. I need to open this first and then share it. That way it starts where I'm
basically I did a reels where I was showing all these moments, and yeah, it was a big deal for me because I'm a very vulnerable person, but it can be a lot to share that. Follow me on Instagram at Shira Lazar. It's a lot to share that with someone, not someone, with the world, because it's also then people know that you're partnered up. You're finally saying that this is more official. It brought up a lot of those things, but yeah.
Well, here we go. Let's go ahead and play it, and we can talk a little more about it. Let's see here. So, and the music. Okay.
Yeah, we have to. I guess we can hear the music, but there's a good song playing here. Yeah, that was it. Oh no,
wow.
There's more things.
Okay.
It's literally 30 seconds. Oh, it doesn't. I think it's pausing. Oh, there we go. That it's very quick. It's like it keeps on repeating. Or I think it's
okay.
Seconds. It's a little montage. It's a love montage.
Love montage. So you surprised him with that on Valentine's Day. That's creative.
Yes, I did. He was there when I was making it. So it was a surprise. If anything, he was like, "Can you get off your phone?" I'm like, "I'm doing something really cool. I promise." And so it was funny because he's not on social media, so he's always very entertained by my antics, or sometimes he's also like, be present with me. I'm here. I'm not there. I'm here. But then I saw he was sharing it with his friends, like on text. Okay. So as much as, it's very cute. And I always think like he's probably annoyed, or not annoyed, but, he thinks it's kind of stupid, or all this social media stuff. And then it's funny when you see, then he's sharing it with his friends, and he's like, "Oh, check out what my girlfriend did." I think it's funny. Anyway.
No, I love that. That's awesome. I've made several videos for my fiance and my wife, so I totally gig. I love that. I love putting together montages and being able to look back at things, and it's fun. And what you just did was a lot of fun because there's like so many moments you just splashed.
Yes.
So fast, it's like we've been here.
TikTok has music sync. Anyway.
I've actually never TikTok. Do you recommend it? I mean, obviously you do it, but for somebody like me.
Yeah, I think that there's a whole self-care, personal growth part of TikTok. A lot of people that share those things, and that you'll just get in the algorithm, and people that enjoy that content or creating that content will see your stuff. So I feel like the more you're in a niche, I would say Instagram, but TikTok too, you can get discovered very quickly. There's more discoverability on TikTok. Everything is challenging to grow on. It's not easy, but I would say like Instagram, rarely do you get in a random algorithm to be seen. Mm-hmm. It's like really sometimes, but not. But like TikTok, you could have no followers and then have one video that pops.
So so the possibility is there where on Instagram it's really not.
I feel like it's still less.
Yeah. Saying, right? You have okay. Okay. I'll have to give that a closer look now that I've gotten the expert opinion.
I mean, for what it's worth.
No, so your gratitude journaling, like, is that something that's been a part of your process for years, or is that something, how did you start that? And then I'd love to talk more about that video you posted and what, your emotions and stuff for that.
Yeah, I started doing journaling when I was reading the morning pages. This is like over 5 years ago. And yeah, I'm losing track of time. But yeah, I was going through a tough time, and I saw the book, The Artist's Way, Julia Cameron. I mean, it's a classic. And it talks about morning pages where you just write stream of consciousness. And I was always one of those people that wanted to journal. Like it has this romantic quality to it, but I never got to doing it. And it really worked that muscle of just just dropping in and just saying what you're feeling, what's on your mind, without it feeling like there's a goal or, this is not, it's just about the act of expression. Right. It's not about like, this is going to be seen by millions of people and this is your future book. It's just about letting go of everything you're holding on to. And then from there, it moved into a bit more of a gratitude where I was not just doing the 3 pages, but I also was, whether it be morning or night, writing down what I was grateful for. And a lot of that came up. I don't know when that started, but it was just like going through just tough times. And being in the personal growth space and listening to other people speak about it. And then also there was just a certain point where it clicked where like gratitude really helps. Like if at any point I'm thinking about something negative, thinking about a bunch of things that are positive. And it's not about toxic positivity. It's about our mind and words are powerful, and our mind will focus on what we tell it to focus on. And so if you are falling back and defaulting to negative, then that's what it will focus on. And and just as quickly, if you start pushing it as a muscle to positive, that's what it will focus on. Of course, feel your feelings. Like I think that a lot of people don't talk about the importance of just feeling and like being where you're at right now and letting yourself exist there and feel that. Right. But then from there, knowing when it's time to really create action around moving that energy into something different or letting it go. And for me, gratitude helps with that. Movement helps with that. Being outside helps with that. To just like shift the energies, shift the vibration, shift the mindset.
Yeah, I was talking the other day with somebody. It was like, it's obviously it's more like an awareness of what's going on, like not like you're on a roller coaster, right? Like you actually are, you don't know. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it's cool to be how you feel, right? But like let it know it's a choice. Like I'm going to sit here with this, opposed to I don't know what's going on and you know what I mean? Like it's the awareness of okay, I choose to be here, opposed to it's that almost like the being a victim and a victor. Like if you know where you're at, you're not feeling well, but you choose, you have to choice, right? You're not just riding the ride, like you're making a decision to be there. I think that's really healthy. To me, I feel like I just want to share with people, you have a choice. There's always a choice in how you feel, what you want to focus on, like gratitude. Yeah. Like you can, that's, if you want to change your focus, we can only focus on one thing. So if you want to choose, a way to focus on something else that's going to make you feel a little bit better, you can start thinking about things you're grateful for. I was even talking with the counselor the other day, and he's like, a stepping stone would be, okay, what list of emotions are like the top of the ladder and the bottom, right? So he's like, maybe anger is your bottom step, but sadness is a step up. So if you get into that state, you go, okay, I'm going to move to this other emotion because it's better for me. And I thought how brilliant it is. Is that, again, like, right, it's what's going to bring us, what's going to tilt us the way we want to go, out of whatever that is.
And my therapist really encourages me to feel that, because I think I personally spent a lot of time being really good at pushing that emotion away for survival. and like going into doing and work, right? Or indulging in stuff as a, as a way to numb that. And so I think that it's really important, at least for me, she reminds me just like really feel into it. Like, what am I feeling? What's coming up here? Where is it coming from? Where is it in my body? Kind of just being aware of it. And then also just talking to yourself, like you would talk to the little child you, right? I'm just like, it's okay. You've got this. I'm here. This is safe, right? But then, of course, we all have different reasons why certain triggers come up or emotions come up. And then it's just about really doing the work to understand what that is for you. Because once again, like there's not one way that works for everyone.
Right.
Like I'm just sharing my experience. I'm not going to necessarily say this is like, and then you must do this. But the hope is that exploration that I do inspires other people to explore that for themselves.
Yeah, totally. That's, in part of my book, Dear Gratitude, I had over 50 people write in gratitude, because gratitude is different for different people, and different people are going to relate to different stories and different things. So it's like the cool thing, so that's coming from me, like, well, maybe Chris's gratitude story doesn't resonate with you, but somebody in the book story will, because it's giving a spectrum of colors. So yeah, obviously there's no one way to practice being grateful or getting into a grateful state. Some people just can't journal, that's not their thing. Or, maybe it's, going on a walking meditation once a day, just appreciating it, or, there's so many, you got to find what works for you, I was talking with a friend last year.
Why being curious and trying different things out is so important, because that's the only way you'll know. And sometimes you'd be surprised by the thing that you thought wasn't your thing becomes your thing, but you just have to be open. Don't make assumptions. Be curious.
For sure. Yeah. People, yeah. I think people I think they agree that gratitude is good for them. But again, that people just don't, sometimes they don't know where to start, or they have, there's some toxicity to some of it because of experiences with other people. So
or just where they're at in life, and you're just not happy, and that's okay. It's okay. Right. It's okay to not be okay. Like, it's
sure.
Not,
yeah.
I think we stigmatize that, or we feel like something's wrong with me. But if you can kind of understand that and sit in that and say like, okay, tomorrow's a new day, or I'm going to sit in this for an hour, or like whatever it takes. And then get support, obviously. Like, I think a lot of us and a lot of people try to do it on their own. And like, you don't need to do it on your own. There's support out there, whether it be, professionals, or, if you're lucky to have friends or family, but I would say professional. Get someone for you, custom for you, looking out for you, because you deserve it. So yeah, that's all really key, definitely.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. There's nothing wrong with people's emotions, and bottom line is, like, if you don't want to feel sadness or pain or all these different emotions, like you're basically saying something, qualities of a dead person. Like, life is
you don't want to live.
It's like, all the emotions.
It's totally, because we're taught it's like that's bad or wrong, or something's wrong with us, right? And so if we start to embrace all of the emotions and understand what they're trying to tell us and be curious about them, we could have a different relationship with that.
Exactly. Because if you ignore it, you're actually giving it power. So
yeah, totally.
It's almost like you're feeding the fire opposed to.
Yeah, you're pushing back at something, it's going to push back. If you let it come in and kind of you let it be, and then it drifts off. But it's just that, like, the practice of meditation, all energy, nothing is permanent. Everything
exactly.
Is permanent, right?
Yeah.
The more you hold on to something, like when we push back and we try to avoid something, we're still almost holding on to it. It's still, we haven't let it flow out of us or move through or move past us. So think of it that as well.
Yeah. My friend Andy, he has he teaches, I don't remember the actual, what the process is called, but it's basically whatever you're sitting with, you say what it is, you say, and that's okay. Like you whatever and it's, I had a really, so I was reading his book, and he has a great story. He wrote a letter to his mom actually the day before she got in a car accident and died many years ago. And it's a beautiful letter called The First Letter. Book called The First Letter. Yeah, but he was on a morning show, and this guy, any which way, he was sitting in his emotions, and he just said once he said, you know what, I realized, he's like, I'm a 40-year-old man, and I'm always going to miss my mother. It's like so he made the statement, but he's saying is like, that's okay. Yeah. Like, it's okay. Yeah. It's okay to feel that. And, I know it's sitting with me. It's like, I know I'm always going to miss my mom, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. There's reasons why I feel that way. Right. There's really good reasons why I feel that way, and and because of reading his book and connecting with him on these ideas, when I was with my father in Florida in December, I sat with my dad and I said to him, because we had a really deep discussion, I said, you're always going to miss mom. You're always going to miss mom. And that's okay. It's completely, because I feel like, again, like I feel like most people, I was thinking to him, especially, like it's something, you know what I mean? Like he feels like it's a problem, and it's not. It's okay. It's human nature. If you geez, you spend, 50 years with somebody, it isn't like you're not going to, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like,
of course, I can't imagine.
Yeah. So I think it's important for people you voice it. So you take the oxygen out of it. You stop giving it power, by saying it's okay. So I love that process.
Yeah, no, I love it. Yeah, that's true. And you're being nice to it. Instead of being angry at something, you're being kind to yourself and compassionate. Right.
Yeah. Which, if you that's what we need to be as loving. We need to, I talk to a lot of people. It's like, we need to be grateful for ourselves. We need to love ourselves first. Like, if you can love yourself, you can love other people, and, even in the book, there were a couple of people that wrote letters to themselves. And I was thinking, this is such a beautiful thing, because so many people forget to be grateful for themselves. They automatically go to other things. So
we totally do that. Yeah. It's really, that's part of like understanding your self-worth and valuing yourself, and like really knowing that you're a gift.
Exactly.
Just to do that practice. Right. And if it's uncomfortable, more reason to do it. Right. Like, oh, that's weird. Like you should be able to say amazing things about yourself. It doesn't mean you're a narcissist. It means that you value yourself. Like I always say, like a lot of times, a lot of people like that will value and be so great at acknowledging other people, being there for others, but they're not there for themselves. And like, that's the first person they should be there for. And then they could be there for those people in even like bigger and better ways.
For sure. Yeah.
It's a way to deflect also, because they weren't used to taking care of themselves. It's a trauma response.
That's true. More self-love.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder. It's always just a good reminder. Let's start with the love here.
Yes. Because that's what it reflects everywhere else. And it'll reflect back to you. It's a constant reflection.
Right. It's just like if you're looking
for what you want to see in the world.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. I have that poster on my wall over here, actually. So I'm with you. Be the change you want to see in the world. Yeah. Well, Shira, this hour has been completely flew by. I want to thank you for your time, and I'm so glad we could do this. And you filled me up. I really loved your stories and your connections, and I really appreciate it. If where's the best place if people want to reach out to you or see what you're doing?
Yeah, just follow me everywhere at Shira Lazar, everywhere on social media, and then you can find the companies I work with, what's trending, Peace Inside Live, doing some really cool content on social, but also live shows on Clubhouse and another app that's about to launch called Fireside. I have a radio show on radio.com daily. So just like audio content, information, inspiration, all that, all day long, 24/7.
I'll make sure I put that in the show notes, and I'll put a couple links. So I'll put a link to your website, because I feel like most of that's linked out of there, right? Your website looks beautiful. Just want to remind you.
I updated my website.
Yeah, it looks great. I've looked at it a couple times.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Well, I'm Chris with Shira. Just reminding you guys you have a lot to be grateful for and to have an excellent day. And we are out.